Black History Month, we celebrate and honor all of the struggle, innovation, and achievements of Black people in this country. One of those is Barbara Brandon-Croft, a cartoonist who created the comic strip Where I'm Coming From. She became the first Black woman to ever enter mainstream national syndication with the strip. And now her new book has selected comic strips from 1991 to 2005. The strip shares the experiences of 9 Black women and their conversations spanning between love, work, everyday racism, and a whole lot more. And joining us now is none other than Barbara Brandon-Croft herself. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show. Let's just talk about your journey as a first, right? First Black woman to ever have her own syndicated strip. Now you have a book. For better, for worse, kind of just give us like a highlight of the journey for you.
So I come from cartooning stock.
Right.
My dad was a cartoonist.
Luther.
So, Luther, yes, yes. So my dad, Brunswick Brandon Jr., did Luther, and he was one of the pioneering Black cartoonists to make it into the mainstream. So when it became my turn, and there's a big old story that comes to this point, you know, I created it for somebody and worked on it, and it wasn't published, and finally I let it sit for a long time. My dad gets this notice, you know, we're looking for Black cartoonists. Do you know of any? Here I am. And so he's like, are you gonna try to do it? And I sent it to Detroit Free Press. And they liked it, and they went with it.
And at one point, you're right, I started talking less about romantic relationships and more about women's issues, Black women's issues in particular, and where we fit in this world that continues to marginalize us. Explain how your shift, the content shift that you had.
Yeah, so when I started out, I was doing just talking about relationships. It was kind of girlfriendy, you know, and I knew I had created it for Black Women's Magazine initially, so I knew who my audience was, and I was talking about what I would talk about my friends with. And it was the encouragement of my syndicate that said, you know, you could push the envelope a little bit. You can talk about racism and sexism and things like that. And I was like, I can? You know, because you're afraid, you know, you don't know what kind of blowback you're going to get. So I was encouraged by my particular syndicate. Lee Salem was a dream. And so that's how it became. And now that I, you know, brought it back, that's all I talk about is what's going on in the world and the
You mentioned racism. You also talked about abortion, economy, a lot of, as you say, what's going on in the world. We see that in the strip. Do we also see that in the book?
Absolutely, yes. So the book shows 14 years of me talking about whatever I wanted to talk about. So the girls, I call them the girls because, you know, they're girlfriends, but the women just talk about everything that comes to their mind. So, yeah, we think about things like violence in schools. You know, yeah, we also think about, you know, hair growing out of our chin. You know, it's like we also think about, you know, all the things that we think about. And I based it on myself, things that occur to me, things that I felt needed to be talked about and put out there so people can say, oh, Black women are just like us. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say, that in a lot of it, even though all the characters are Black females, a lot of it would just be something that across race
universal.
or gender people would be thinking about.
I would hope so. Yeah, I was hoping to hit a universal chord. I mean, it's, you know, it's like a it's an opportunity for a larger segment of society to see the smaller segment and say, hey, you know, we are pretty much the same. We really do have a lot of things the same on our minds, and we don't have to look at each other as others. You know, we are one.
You often fear what you don't know, and now people are able to kind of come into the tent and say, oh, you know, you have the same concerns and wants and desires that I do. Lastly, is there a particular character who's really you?
I'm a little bit of all of them. I am a little bit of all of them. I do identify greatly with Lakeisha, who's the one with the dreads. She has stylized dreads because she's most socially conscious, and she'll talk about racism without issue, you know. And I like that, and I do. You know, I don't mind talking like that. But I'm also, you know, like Jackie, who's very emotional and anxious. Me. You know, it's like all those things. So all the things that are inside of me, I've used in all of my characters. Plus, I have a lot of girlfriends.
Well, thank you for being a trailblazer.
Well, thank you for having me so I can talk about it.
In the industry and beyond. Barbara Brandon-Croft, we want our viewers to know that you can find Where I'm Coming From anywhere books are sold.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.